Welcome back to One Piece Interview. This is episode number 25. Yes, 25. Those of you curious, like episode 25, does Manga review the 20th episode of the series? No, I'm not. I reviewed that already when I reviewed it when I talked about it in the first season of the show. It's just basically the anime review series episode number. That's simply all it is. Unlike Boruto, where it's basically whatever episode I'm on for the interview, that's the episode I'm reviewing for the series. This one is just basically, I think it was starting with part 21, I think it was. Year 2021 is when I basically switched from doing season-long reviews, because I watched like a bunch of seasons, to just regular episode reviews. Basically, like Boruto, it's just, well, just reviews whatever new episode pops up. Okay, now this episode is the 812th episode of the series, called Invading the Chateau, Reach the Road Ponegliff. This one, first time in, like, I'd say about 5 or 6 episodes they've actually done this for adaptation-wise. This episode actually adapts more pages, it adapts the last 6 pages of chapter 846, that's pages 12 to 17, and they also start adapting chapter 847. I was kind of like, okay, are they just going to do 6 pages like they did in like 2 episodes back? No, they're actually finally back to doing before, where they're adapting just last 6 pages of one chapter, and this time instead of doing 10 pages, they're doing just 9 pages, doing pages 8 through 12. With this episode, there's not much for fighting per se in this episode. You do get a little advanced with the plot. Brook definitely, like I said in last week's episode, Brook finally makes a return to the series. After several episodes, it's been a while since I had seen him pop up in the anime. Excuse me. I think the last known official time that he had shown up, let's see, it was back in episode 795. So it had been roughly 17 episodes anime-wise since Brook had shown up. I think in the manga it had been about, probably less than that. Probably about, I don't know, 10 maybe. It'd been a little while, but at least it's not long like where he disappeared like halfway through the, partway through the Dressrosa arc and didn't return to the start of the next arc. Yeah, at least he didn't disappear for too long. Yep. This one, surprisingly, has got a few point of views. Sanji in this episode is only seen for like one scene, with the exception of the flashback. He's only on screen in this episode for roughly like 2 minutes. Yeah, he's seen for one quick scene in his guest room, and that's it. That's all he's seen in this episode because this whole arc is technically about Sanji. Brook is seen, first time we see him, he's in spirit form. And he basically is looking around the place because the spirit form is actually good for infiltration purposes because people get scared by a ghost. So he looks around and sees the security's tight, and apparently there's this sweet general Smoothy, who apparently her different power, she can take people, squeeze them like oranges into a glass and drink it. She did this to a woman in the episode. Just squeezed her dry. I don't know if she's with juice or something. And then she drank it. I'm like, seriously? Oh my gosh. This is surprisingly something. When it comes to this particular anime. Yep. Okay. I'm just trying to fix something here. My adapter apparently is not being read properly. Okay, that should do it. Still not fixed yet. Damn it. Sorry about this. Basically, yeah, the thing that's supposed to be reading my adapter basically is not being read for some reason. Yeah, it just mysteriously just stopped working. I don't know what happened. Maybe a switch happened? I don't know. But yeah, in this episode, basically, we have, well, aside from he sees the rope Ponegliff, we get a chance to see what the thing looks like, and sees all the security, and he reports back to Pedro. Basically, it turns out basically Pedro, a little bit more revealed basically about Pedro in this episode, that he had been to the island before 5 years ago, and also in this episode there's a reference to Marineford, actually impelled down, yeah, when they bring one of the creatures impelled down. The reference to that, Punk Hazard, which is only just 2 arcs back. Yeah, it was only just like 3 arcs back, actually. Yeah, 3 arcs ago, basically, the reference to creatures they caught that like a griffin from the South Blue. Yeah, apparently Big Mom has been collecting a lot of species over the course of several years. It's quite interesting the fact she did this, and I do praise her for that. Yep. So, yeah. Let's see. Luffy, him and Nami, like the whole time you've seen the episode, they're basically nailed on a wall with, I mean, it's not like an actual nail. It looks like a paper nail. It looks like a type of nail that doesn't allow your hands to bleed. But if it was an actual nail, it will cause your hands to bleed. And they're basically put on the wall. Basically, I get maybe Luffy surviving this, but Nami is a normal human. And apparently, yeah, she's pimped. And she's not the only human. They're not the only humans trapped in the book. There's also someone from the Long Leg Tribe. Yeah, the same people that one guy from Long Leg Tribe who's part of the Straw Hat Fleet. Yeah, from the same people, which is interesting. And Big Mom is seen for a good chunk of the episode. The episode ends like about halfway through chapter 847, basically, where he's talking to Luffy over the course of a transpire snail, which is pulled directly from the manga. Though I could have sworn that this particular set was not an actual book per se. I thought it was like some kind of basement dungeon. That's why I kind of remember this being from the manga. But it's not really big of a change. They do show basically the actual closing the book. Yeah, I mean, there's an extra scene about that. But otherwise, though, it sticks pretty close basically how the manga presented it. That's really it for that episode. It's a good episode. Looking forward to next week, where a little more advance with the plot, hopefully. They'll probably just adapt the rest of chapter 847, and hopefully going back to basically standard what they've been doing before, where it's like 6 pages to start off with in the previous chapter, and then start with the first 9 pages of the next chapter to adapt every single episode. Not just do the whole thing of 10 pages, one episode, 6 pages, another episode. Yeah, I hope they don't do that again, because that was kind of dumb. Yeah, so now on to the manga. Chapter 884, where pretty much about there's a little bit basically. I mean, it starts off where the last chapter left off, where Luffy is still fighting. I can't remember his name. I think it's basically they reference Cracker back, and Luffy spends a good amount of time fighting. I can't remember this guy's name. He's one of Big Mom's sons. He's basically he's King of Lightning's favorite. Well, he's one of his favorite characters from this particular manga. I don't remember the guy's name. Basically, you see like the scar thing around him. Now, I think he's going to show up in a future episode. I don't know. I didn't see him for this next week's episode, but it's probably going to be after when they adapt chapter 850, when they finally bring this guy in. Also, I forgot to mention last week's episode that the German is 6. First time they show up in several chapters. And they don't make appearance this chapter at all. They make a brief appearance at the end of the last chapter. Actually, it was like 2 chapters ago, I think it was. And this time, there's no mention of them at all. And then we cut away to Nut Island, where you have Pound. First time I've seen him since the Seduction Woods chapters. Yeah, first time Seduction Wood chapters, he's shown up. And he wanted to see his daughter, Clifton. And he knows that he saw her. And basically, Clifton's like, who's that man screaming? Woman, it's your father. And he wants to see you. I'm sure she would love to see her father, but it just depends exactly if, in fact, next chapter. And putting a scene a little bit in this chapter, she's seen for like 1 panel, and that's it, basically. And this whole scene takes up about 3 pages. And then the manga ends with briefly seeing the Straw Hat crew. They're like, okay, Big Mom has got away, and like there was a trap or something. And then the chapter ends seeing the wife of the first mate, formerly I think he's now the captain of the Sun Pirates, who was one of Big Mom's daughters, the 29th daughter, even though there was another character who claimed to be 29th daughter. Yeah, that was actually a printing error. This half human, half mer-woman is in fact the 29th daughter, who's married to Jinbei's former first mate. Where apparently it's like some kind of sea stuff underneath there, but it looks like it is a pretty interesting ending. Hopefully we get a chance to follow up in the next chapter, and hopefully we don't let's just forget about this for several chapters. Let's hope they didn't do that again, because they did with the Jeremiah 66. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next week's episode, where I'm going to cover episode 813, which is 813, which is a fateful confrontation, Luffy and Big Mom, and the 885th chapter of the manga. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.